Okay, seriously guys, it is the biggest library haul ever. Maybe not quite ever, but it's a big one. So stay tuned and I will tell you what I got and what I think. Let's get to our haul. So first, we have rediscovered our love for audiobooks this summer. I knew we liked them. My son loves them. He listens to them when he goes to sleep at night. But we hadn't gotten any in a while. So at the end of the last school year, I got one to listen to when we went to the beach. We went to the beach right after school let out. And we've just kind of stuck with it all summer. So we are on the third in the series, the Percy Jackson series. So this is currently what we have. We've done the first two, The Lightning Thief, Sea of Monsters. Now we are on Titan's Curse. We absolutely love Percy Jackson in our house. Me and my oldest love Percy Jackson. And my 8-year-old is a little too young to be able to read the books on his own. So this is so perfect. We also did, there was like a period of time when after Sea of Monsters, before this was available, it had been checked out. We did The Cricket in Times Square, which was super cute. I had never read that book before, and my kindergartner especially really loved that one. So our first set of books are books that we've checked out just for fun. These don't really have like any grouping for school or any reason. The first is a book for me. So this was Homeschool Bravely. I have a list of homeschooling books I want to read now that I've decided this is something I am doing for the foreseeable future. And I really loved this book, guys. You can see I have so much of it like dog-eared so that I can like go back and read it and take some notes really quick before I have to take it back to the library. Next, we have Deltora Quest. This is what I was reading to my oldest son at bedtime. This is not a whole book. This was 4 books in one, and so now we need to order the 5th book. We just finished it. This is really good. It's really fun. It's similar to like the idea of things like Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter, where there's like this magical world with all these different lands, and they're going on a quest to discover 7 lost stones. It all sounds very familiar, but the world is really well done. It's really interesting. I feel like it's a little more like kitschy than those. Is that the word I want to use? Maybe. It's kind of like when it comes time to get the stone, it's only like a chapter. They find the stone, they fight, it's over, it's done. It doesn't take very long. They also like know where all the stones are pretty quickly. The story is more like their journey from one land to the other to find the stone. And so it's interesting, it's fun, it's got a lot of that like really mystical, I don't know, fun, different lands. It's not my favorite story, but my son really enjoys it, and it's fun to read out loud. It's clean, so I recommend it if you like those kind of books. This one, I heard Chantel at Intentional Homeschooling talk about this one. It's 30 Days Has September. Has, not hath, when you are looking it up. 30 Days Has September. Cool ways to remember stuff. So it really is cool different ways to remember stuff. I think if I owned this book, I would enjoy like sitting and reading through it slowly over time, but I don't know if it's really something I would actually really use that much. So my oldest, my 11-year-old, he read a book by an author named Catherine Arden. It's called Small Spaces, and it was really spooky and scary, and he really liked it. So I asked him if he wanted to try something by the same author. He said yes. So I found Dead Voices. And it turns out this is a sequel. And he has really enjoyed it. He just finished it today. And so we will look to see if she makes other books that are for his age level, or if these were kind of the first from her. But he really likes this. This one I also found because of Chantel at Intentional Homeschooling. A lot of this I actually found from her, or got the idea from her. So this is Case Closed, Mystery at the Mansion. And I am doing this as a read aloud with my boys to span between, we just finished another book that was actually a kind of like puzzle solving thing. We did the Mr. Limoncello books, and we needed something to kind of carry us until we get to the new school year. And I figured this is perfect because we can just read it a few times while we like, it's a pick your path, choose your adventure type thing. And we can just keep doing it over and over until we like find multiple different endings, and we can return it whenever, because we will finish the book multiple times. So we just finished the first time today. It took us 3 or 4 days to find an ending. And guys, I love this book. It is really fun because it lends itself to some really great voices if you like to do read alouds. Some really over-the-top characters that are just really fun. My kids think the 6-year-old is hilarious in this. It does, just I guess forewarning, so you may want to like look through it yourself first if you're like really picky about this. It does use words like but and poop a couple times. Not overly, but when I read this to my kids, I really feel like this is talking the way children talk. Instead of writing this like really nice book and you're having these kids speak in ways that really aren't the way kids talk, I really feel like I am talking the way my 11-year-old and my 5-year-old talk. Except for maybe my 5-year-old, I give him more of a baby voice to be funny. But it's super fun. It's really exciting. We accidentally killed the characters once, but it's really good. I highly recommend it. I found this one. It is huge. Okay, guys, this is huge. I did not know it was this big when I got it. It's like as heavy as my daughter. Okay, this is the DK Smithsonian World War II Definitive Visual History. Oh. So, if you watched my other videos, I've said before, my 11-year-old is absolutely obsessed with World War II. Obsessed. Okay. And so he has sat there, he has looked through a ton of this. He has loved it. He's learned a lot. He loves looking at the pictures. He loves just having all of these different things that he can learn about, different battles, different types of weapons. So this was so awesome and so good, and I would love to get this, but I have a feeling it's like really expensive. I haven't looked into it. So next time he feels like he needs to learn some more, we'll just check it out from the library. And then for my 8-year-old, I got him the DK Smithsonian Everything You Need to Know About Dinosaurs. We did a dinosaur unit last year. We looked through a ton of them, but I really liked this because it was a lot more colorful than some of the others. This is obviously, whereas this definitive World War II one is obviously geared more towards adults, and it's a little more serious. This is just a lot more fun and colorful with snippets of information that are so perfect for my 3rd grader to learn more about dinosaurs, because he's a little dinosaur crazy. I wouldn't say he's obsessed, but he really likes dinosaurs. So that was a good one. Okay, now on to some stuff that is for school. So I'm wanting to incorporate in our morning basket every once in a while some math books. I also got the first of the circumference books. So this is Circumference and the First Round Table. And it just takes you through a story where King Arthur is trying to find the best fit for all of his knights at his table. And they try many different, it tells you how they how they cut up the table to create the different shapes, why they think that they're good. In the end, they create the round table, and it gives you a really cute way at the end to remember the words, what the meanings are for diameter, radius, and circumference. And so I think it was cute, and I think it was fun. We will be doing kind of the medieval times, I want to say near January this year. There's not really a timeline, it's just kind of when we get to it, but I'm thinking we'll read these then and just get different ones of these because I feel like it will just help with some of the vocabulary of the words, and it's never too early to start. I feel like my kindergartner could even pick up on these ideas. Okay, also for this year, I am teaching a sign language class for my son and then my cousin's 3 oldest kids who are 15, 12, almost 13, and 11. We are doing a sign language class together. So I found that there's some picture books that use sign language in them, so I thought I would check them out and see if I liked them. So the first is Moses Goes to the Circus. There's actually a few, there's not a ton, but there's a few of these Moses books where he is deaf and his sister is not, and it shows him just using sign language. There's a difference between sign language and signed English. So I got this one because it is listed as a beginning sign language series, but then when you read the back, it says that they are presented in signed English, which is very different. I do not use signed English, I use sign language. So this gives them the stories, but and a lot of the signs are the same, but the grammatical setup and the specific words that they choose to sign are different in the 2 different ways to sign. So this is one I won't be using, but if you are learning signed English or use sign English, then it's a cute little book. Okay, so in our morning basket, a couple days a week, we are going to be working on geography, world geography. We are starting in Europe, and that might take us the whole year because there's a lot of countries in Europe, and we're going to go through all the countries, just a little bit about each one. So kind of the basis to decide what order we go in is going to be this Draw Europe book, and I might have to buy this book because I'm going to use it yeah, quite a bit, probably all year, so I might actually have to buy this book. But I think it's really cool. So you start, it gives you just step-by-step instructions. It shows you that the Ural Mountains are kind of the cutoff point between Europe and Asia. I did not actually know that. And you draw in there the Caspian Sea, and then your Black Sea, and then you start to add in Russia. So we will start with Russia. It says to use just an 8.5 by 11, a regular piece of paper, and they will, every time we start a new country, they will add it on and try to draw the map of Europe. I don't expect it to look perfect, but I think it gives me a good place to start. So we will be starting in Russia. Then we will be using this Cooking Class Global Feast. This gives us just very simple foods from all over the world. And so we will have to go through, so like there's something from Russia here, and so we will go to it and we will read about what that food is. So like this is kimchi, so this is obviously Korea. We're not going to be using this year, but then it shows you how to make kimchi. So we will, once every couple weeks, we're going to do a recipe from whatever country we learned about. And so this is a good one because it gives me really simple recipes that are meant for kids, because I feel like looking up recipes could get a little iffy, but this gives me a good place to start. It doesn't have every country in it, but it's gonna have a lot of the major ones. So we'll be starting and using this whenever. I will be creating a list of which countries it does have in Europe so that I know when I need to check this out. We will also be using, this is one we will use, Children Just Like Me. So this is a really cute book where it gives you, I'm trying to find one from Europe. I don't know where they're from. Oh, here we go. Here we go. So it just gives them, so it gives their name, it gives, they're from France, what his home life is like, what he does in his playtime, what he likes to eat, and it just show, and like what kids from there wear. So this does not show you traditional dress, this shows you what kids now wear. So we will see plenty of pictures of traditional wear, but I like the idea of showing them that kids all over the country are just like them and like a lot of the same things that they do. One that is really cool, but I don't think we're going to use, is this DK Smithsonian Children's Illustrated Atlas. So I have an atlas that will show us what, so here we go, where the countries are. So this will show us the countries. It gives us the big cities in the countries, and then all these little cute little pictures to show us like popular sports. You can see popular sports, some of the architectural things in the countries, and just some little snippets about each country. And I do think this is really cool, and I'm still deciding if I want to check this out to use or not. It's a lot of information. So here we have the British Isles. I do think it's a very cool book. I think it's one of those that because we're just doing a very kind of quick overview right now, we don't need this much information. But if I ever saw this, now having looked at it, if I ever saw it at like a consignment sale or Goodwill or anything like that, I would know that I want it and I would be willing to pay not full price for it. So that. Okay, so the next section are more specific subjects and curriculum. We are starting the year in Egypt. We will be in ancient Egypt. So I checked out the Egypt game. My thought was to have my 8-year-old read this. I wanted to read and see if I thought he could. I do think he could, but I thought it was such a good book that I want to do it as a read aloud instead. So I'm still searching for a book for him. Because I think we're going to read this as a group during that time, because I think my 11-year-old will also really like it, and I think it lends itself well to something that even my 5-year-old will enjoy and really open them up to the idea of more okay, they don't need more make-believe in their life, but this was a really good book, and yeah, that's how we're going to use it. I checked out this graphic mythology, Egyptian myths. I don't think we're going to use this. I mean, I think my kids would enjoy looking at it, but there were a couple of pictures in here that I did not love. Like a picture of people feasting on human flesh, or a picture of somebody getting their head cut off. Most of it is fine, and so I haven't decided. There's a possibility I might let them read it and just tape a piece of paper over the pictures I don't need them seeing. You know, they can read, because all it says is, at that time people feasted on human flesh, but then Horus came down and taught them not to do that. But I don't like the picture. I don't think they need the image in their head. So I haven't decided what I'm going to do with this or not. This one's still up for debate, and I really need to decide because it needs to go back to the library. But I can't decide. I don't know what to do. Okay, so these next 3, I had never actually looked at any of the DK Eyewitness books. So I just got all the ones they had on Egypt. So we've got pyramids, mummies, and just ancient Egypt in general. So these DK Eyewitness books are really good. I don't know how I'm going to use them. I feel like there's a lot more information. We do have a history curriculum we're following, so it's not like this is everything. So I don't know that we need this, but what I do think I'm going to do, so I probably will not use this overall ancient Egypt, though it's really cool. It talks about like their everyday life and the tools they used and the music they had and lots of really cool stuff, but I don't think we need it. What I do think I'm going to do is this mummy and then this pyramid one. I think I'm going to give these to my boys. I'm going to give one to each of them, so I'll have my 11-year-old and my 8-year-old, and tell them to look through and find just something that really piques their interest and teach it to us. Give them a day where they are to teach us about something that they learn about in this book. Okay, so after Egypt, we will be doing the American Revolution. And I checked this one out. I thought this book was a chapter book. And I was very disappointed to get it home and find it was a picture book, because I thought this was like going to maybe be the chapter book I could assign my 3rd grader. But it's a picture book. But it's a really cute picture book, and I will probably check it out and do it as a read aloud with my kids so that my kindergartner has something interactive to do with us. So it's still a really good story about a girl who was spying for the Patriots during the Revolutionary War, using her laundry as like the message. But it's not a chapter book. Oh, it was really sad. Okay, so I checked out. I should have known. I did not know how giant this Kingfisher History of the World. Again, this thing is like weighs as much as my daughter. So there's just too much information. I think this would be really great to have, and it's not super expensive. I can buy it used for like 15 bucks, and maybe someday I will, but I really don't think it's something we need. I don't think it's something we would use very often. So I have, I went through and marked. It's like ancient Egypt. It gives a lot of information, but not a lot all at the same time. This is, so for ancient Egypt, you get a page that talks about kind of a little bit about their everyday life, where ancient Egypt is, their hieroglyphics, and what kind of early writing, and that's all you get. You don't get any other information about it. You come back here to the feudal system, which we will learn a little bit about, but this is it. This is all you got, and there's just so much more. So I feel like it's almost too much. Here's your American Revolution. This is all you got. There's no information about battles. Now, what I do really like about this is this yellow part. It starts way back here at the beginning. It's a running timeline that goes through the whole thing, and I do like that. And I also like that it's pretty easy to see like what is happening concurrently with the different events in history. But this is not something that I will probably be checking out again, and it's not something that I really feel like I'll even really be on the watch for. It's good, but it's not something that I think we would really use. Kind of along the same lines, this is the same series as the DK Illustrated Atlas. This is the DK Illustrated History Atlas. This book is actually really cool. And again, if I ever saw this like at a consignment sale or Goodwill or something like that, I would snatch it up. So it gives you your people, the Vikings, and then it just gives you little tidbits of information about them, important landmarks. But the best part is, so this is the Middle Ages. So it breaks them into groups. Then it gives you a timeline. So we start with Vikings, but it teaches you about the Vikings, and then it teaches you that at the same time the Vikings are doing that, this is what's happening in Korea, and this is what's happening in Japan. And then here are the Native Americans that are around that time period. And you can come down here and learn about all the different African empires that are developing at this time. And so I do like that they make it very simple to go in and see all the little pieces or what's happening all at the same time in just little snapshots instead of like this big giant book. Obviously it is not complete. There's a lot of like holes and stuff that's missing. This couldn't be like a full curriculum, but it is still really, really interesting. 2 more. We're almost there. Okay, I got this Lego Epic History. This I think I also saw from Chantel. Maybe. Anyways, so my thought was that we could turn to whatever we were studying at the time, like ancient Egypt, and that I could encourage them to try to build one of these and say, pick something on this page and build it. But then when I looked at it, I realized we don't have a lot of these Lego pieces. Like, we have lots of Legos, but a lot of these are pretty specialized pieces and we don't have them. And so they would get really frustrated. So I don't think we're gonna do that. But my son did find this and he was really excited to look through and see what all the different things are and how they were built. So it still served a purpose and it was still really fun. So the last one is a book that I'm putting on my Christmas list. I love this book. I actually thought the History Atlas was by this same author. I think he has a History Atlas, so I need to look and see, because if he does, I want it. If it's anything like this, this is the Myth Atlas by Thiago de Moraes. I probably butchered that, but I love this book. I think it is so cool. So it goes through 12 different cultures and their mythological beliefs. So let's just do one. I tried to like make a copy of this to see if I could put it up in the room. The Egyptian world is beautiful. I love it. I love like all of your regular gods and then all the gods of the underworld and how they split them, and they show that this is just a mirror image of this, and it points out all of the major gods and goddesses. And then the next page is also I want a copy of, but I don't know how to do it. This is the journey of the dead. So what they believe that the journey of the dead is. Why do they need these pyramids and all of this stuff with them? And then lastly, they just give you some of the creatures and artifacts. So this is going on my Christmas list because I think it's beautiful. I think it's handy. I think it's interesting. I really love it. I'm trying to get my son to read it just because it's so much fun. Get to your library, see what you can find, and when you find something awesome, let me know because maybe I will want to check it out.